But you know what? I think that's gonna do it because I this thing bums me out. It really does. Um, this is not the way I really wanted to end it. I want to be like, hey, yeah, this is awesome. Talk about things. But going through this again, because I read this the other night and I remember just feeling kind of drained, and going back over it again and talking about the events really does drain you. You start to feel really bad for these people. So I think that's going to do it for the document itself, because it's basically a lot of the same thing. Incompetence in filmmaking, not thinking things through. Um, them trying to make money hand over fist at the cost of some of the producers. It's just a ton of that stuff. So I did want to bring this up. This is the apology letter that came out soon afterwards. And this is what Channel Awesome had to say from the this 69-page document. We wanted to take a moment to clear the air and acknowledge some of the recent public concerns raised by content creators previously associated with Channel Awesome. Channel Awesome is an organization that respects our producer partners and strives to create the best possible environment for everyone. We welcome a diverse community of people joining together to create great videos. For the people who have spoken about the past instances, they are deemed, or for the people who have spoken out about past instances they deemed hurtful or unprofessional, we sincerely regret you feel that way. Our priority has always been to help content partners succeed and provide people a vehicle to follow their dreams. When the need arose, we have distanced ourselves from people who were particularly callous, letting go of significant stakeholders in the interest of keeping our mission at the forefront. We appreciate and hear frustrations. Good grief, what's going on here? We appreciate and hear the frustration of past producers. We're actively taking internal steps to better improve communication with our producers so they can be focused on putting out their great content. And we're open to constructive criticism, the kind that can help us become even better and serve the needs of our community. But criticism that isn't a means to a productive end does little for either the party criticizing or those in the line of fire. Our focus now is to move on, or our focus now is on moving forward with the wonderful team we have and all our dedicated followers. We want to make our collective future the best it can possibly be. We thank our content creators, team, and fans for truly making our channel awesome. Here's to creating something even better in the future. So this apology is not an apology. It's basically, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but it's not like, hey, we're going to take responsibility for that. So what has all of this caused? What has all of this ended up doing? Well, I decided to pull up Channel Awesome's Social Blade, and let's look at the numbers. So Monday on the 2nd is when it dropped. So they lost 643 subs. You can see that number grow. By Wednesday, this thing had really gotten some traction. By Thursday, they had dropped again. And Friday, oh, dude, they've lost 7,606 subs. Go to that live. Watch that number plummet. Yeah. So, yeah, this has hurt Channel Awesome. What would I like to see happen, or what is going to happen? I don't know, but here's some ideas. I think the large part of the issue that everybody's been having is with Mike Mashad. Now, Mashad he owns the lion's share of the company, and he seems to be the most toxic of the people who are involved there. Now, because he owns the Nostalgia Critic IP, I see this being a problem for Doug and Rob. They've tried to do something else. They've tried to do stuff like demo reel, and it hasn't taken. And I think at this point in time, I think it's time for Doug and Rob to maybe split from Channel Awesome, but I can see that being a very difficult decision and maybe something they don't want to do because of the Nostalgia Critic basically belonging to Mashad. But this does seem to be the biggest of the issue, being that the channel is just, at least then, wasn't run very well. What I would like to see, coming from someone who, you know, doesn't know any of the internal workings of the site or anything like that, is what the current producers feel about Channel Awesome. Is this something that they still feel, are these still the same issues that these past producers were running into? Or have things improved? Has somebody stepped up and actually, you know, had communication with the producers? Do they actually get to talk with someone who seems to care about what they're doing? But who knows? It's going to be interesting to watch Channel Awesome. A comment that I saw earlier today was someone saying that this is probably going to destroy Channel Awesome. I don't know if it will. I really don't. You've had other YouTube dramas happen, and you know, yeah, you see a large drop in subs, and then eventually it sort of tapers out, or evens out and plateaus, and then it starts increasing again. And people very easily and very quickly forget about you know, sort of the mishandling or the mistakes of some of these you know, channels. But you know, I think the age of what we used to enjoy as Channel Awesome, where you had a bunch of content creators coming together into one spot, I don't know if that's a thing anymore. You know, we've watched a lot of the content creators who were around, may not even have been with Channel Awesome, but were around at the time. They've evolved their format as well. So Pat the NES Punk, he very rarely does Pat the NES Punk episodes. He mostly does his podcasts. If you look at the AVGN, he very rarely does nerd videos anymore. He's mostly on as himself, talking about other things that he likes. He's used the nerd persona to launch himself into a decent career and been able to make a movie and do what he wanted to, and he's been able to kind of start to distance himself away from the character, because that's not a lot of the way a lot of people review things anymore. Most people are being themselves. A character like the Nostalgia Critic is kind of starting to become old hat, and it may be time for the Nostalgia Critic to actually die this time instead of, and I don't mean kill anybody, I'm talking about the character, that maybe Doug and Rob need to walk away from Channel Awesome and walk away from the Nostalgia Critic and see if they can start making content on their own, and distance themselves away from Channel Awesome. Again, most of these complaints are against Mike Mashad. And I'm not saying that the Walkers are not to blame for some of the stuff, or at least, you know, turning away when something was going on. But you know, I'm kind of anxious to see what comes up next and see what happens. The apology letter that was written, I think, did more damage. I think that's doing more of this than what the document is doing, because that letter kind of proves the point. The way it was handled really shows how Channel Awesome, or at least some of the higher ups at Channel Awesome, really think about what happened with their producers. So I think that's going to do it for me tonight. Yosh, thanks for jumping in and watching, and I'll see you guys later.